All right. So welcome back to the second annual Dirty 30 podcast. Once again, myself, Devin, Christian here, just to kind of talk about league updates and how things, what really happened in the last couple of weeks or so. First, we just wanted to really just reach out and say, hey, I thought everyone thought this podcast was a really good idea. I didn't get one bad word about it. A couple different people hit me up saying like, hey, if you ever need a guest, like I'm all for it, So I just thought it was really cool and it was fun to see for myself for sure. And I know Dev and Christian kind of feel that same way.
Loved it.
We are 25 days away from the draft. August 21st, officially at Tanner's Place. I don't know, sometime starting at 7:30 or 8, or I don't know, whenever whoever has kids decides what time it starts, that'll do it. And then I think the big news of the day is talk about Dev's sweet board. What do you guys say there, man? You gotta
Well, kind of like we were talking about, we should have been doing this for years now, I guess. But
oh yeah,
I don't know.
I'm so sick of making that thing.
It was kind of fun to just kind of put it together and design it and then, print it. So now it's just trying to get it down there, but I don't think that should be a big deal. But yeah, it was kind of fun putting everyone's names on there and then, incorporating the Winona aspect of it. And then, I put, obviously everyone has two keepers and I just put, I just picked one and put it in there next to you guys' name. So
yeah, I think that was my favorite part. Christian, you got a favorite part of the board?
Yeah, I love the Winona aspect. I mean, it definitely felt like it played into the league and, was customized towards our league, which was the coolest part to me.
Yeah, definitely. Either the
Not just your basic sticker board.
Right.
Either the Nona Bros or the customized keeper. I thought was probably my favorite part. So yeah, that's cool, man.
What do you think?
Today we're going to talk, a couple NFL news, a little league news, and then our topics of the day are we're going to give grades out to the offseason trades, and we're going to finally figure out is the number one pick available for trade. Right? We're going to ask the man, the myth, the legend, Christian himself. All right. So NFL news, pup list came out. We got a couple relevant guys. Dobbins went to the pup. I know Dirk's trying to pedal him off to someone. Michael Thomas was on the pup and then got activated today. Woo woo. If we did this yesterday, I would have been doing a different story. No pup. James Robinson, no pup. I think we'll kind of get into those two a little bit later. So I'll save especially the James Robinson talk for when we kind of talk off-season trades, just with the ETN part of it. League news: Tanner officially switched from Antonio Gibson to the fifth to Gabe Davis in the 12th.
Peer pressure is a hell of a drug.
Does that do anything for anyone? Change their ranks at all?
No. I don't know.
My thing is like, so I'm not like the highest of the high of Gabe Davis hype, right? You look at the Twitter machine and it's wild.
It's so expensive.
It's wild, man. I mean, I don't know, a list of like who can score 10 touchdowns, like Gabe Davis is definitely on that list, He's interesting. I mean,
it'll be an interesting year, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, he's better than Gibson, right?
He's better than Gibson.
Can you get him in 12? What did you say, 12th round or 11th?
12th rounder, right? I mean, you're getting a flex in the 12th rounder,
Yep.
So
Can't complain.
Can't complain, right? That's kind of what keepers are all about.
Smart move from the champ.
And so too. So topics of the day. Christian, you want to either do off-season trade grades first, or do you want to let us all know if the number one overall pick is available? I'll leave it up to you.
We'll go right into the number one pick.
Hell yeah, man.
We'll move on.
Take it over then.
I've been very vocal about this. And honestly, like I feel like this is the year you want to have the number one pick because all those good players got tossed back in, the Derrick Henrys and Dalvin Cooks and Camaras, and possibly McCaffrey. I assume not, but possibly. And it's just one of those things where my team I'm in a position with the keepers that I have available where if I can gain more value throughout the draft, that's what I want to do, because I already have two guys in JT and Cup. I'm not planning on keeping Cup, but I have two guys right there that could possibly be the number one pick anyways. So obviously things could change before the draft. I could keep both, but I mostly what I'm looking for, if people are serious about entertaining the idea, and Brown Bear, I know we've had conversations. I've had conversations with a couple other league members I will not disclose, but there were positive talks. We just could never come to an agreement. I think both sides just want to win, especially because that first round pick is so important this year. Like you don't want to miss on your first round pick when you're able to keep two guys that you love. You want to make the most of that first round pick to really give you that third wheel to bring you to the championship. And no better pick to do it than the number one pick. But I do want.
What's it going to take, my man? What's it take?
It's absolutely going to need a swap of first rounders, with 20 guys being kept, even though some guys got thrown back, with 20 guys being kept who are all possibly, they're all top 3-4 round guys. I got to get something back in return. So a first round pick swap, ideally I would love to pick up, a third or fourth round pick.
Sure.
While trading, more of a middle round pick for myself, like a 6, 7, 8, where if I can jump up 20 spots later on in the draft, I don't want to drop too far back in the first round though either. Sure. Like I would love to talk to Devin, but he's towards the end of the first round and he also doesn't have a first round pick right now. So
I'm hearing a 1 and a 3 for a 1 and 8. It is a good starting spot.
Yes, I can work from there, but that's pretty much where I would come in. And I think with Derrick Henry being available, with Cooper Kupp being available, with Dalvin Cook, if that's your if that's your bread and butter, like if that's what you want, if they're available, I think that's very reasonable, because I think when you look at the draft, if you do a mock, which is impossible with us, but if you were to write out a draft board and figure out who was going to go where, the player that, like the third round, yes, I'm getting a better player than you would get in the 8th round, but I think people are going to be surprised how much it drops off after 15 picks.
Yeah.
A third round pick is literally, like, I was looking at it the other day. You're talking maybe like Mike Williams. It's not a third round pick in like a usual redraft. So I'm open to conversations.
I like it, man. What are your thoughts, Dev?
The 11th pick is pretty much a first round pick, right?
Pretty much.
No, I get it, man. That number one spot is, you're not just gonna give it away. That's not how it works. So
it's a fair starting point. I asked Rody, is the number 2 pick available, just to kind of compare and contrast here. And I don't even know if I told you this, Christian.
You did not tell me the value. No.
Didn't tell you? Okay. So I asked Rody, and he straight up told me the number 2 pick is not available. Just because of,
he's a man with a plan.
Just because man with a plan, what it takes. There's a different tier level between Henry and Cook, and I don't even know who the next running back would be. Aaron Jones, which I get. So
right.
But I like it, man. I think that's all useful information for people to hear. And the point of this podcast is to increase communication, increase trades, and hopefully someone hears this and they send you something.
Well, and if I feel like if you look at it, and I feel like if we looked at who we would take, like let's say we ended up settling at like a 4th for a 7th, hypothetically. I think after the draft, if you look at, would you rather have Derrick Henry and that 8th round player, or would you rather have, let's say, Tyreek Hill and that 4th round player? I think it's a lot closer than what people realize. Once you put the players there, the value is always scary. No one wants to drop 3 rounds in value. I get it. Right. But depends on how much you value that number 1 pick.
I like it, man. I like it. Let's move on to our next topic. So we have had 3 trades already this year, right? That's just kind of what this league is, right? It's trades in February, trades in January. It's just kind of that's how things happen, right? First trade. So I should tell the game here. So we're gonna kind of explain what the trade is, right? And then we're gonna give out grades for each team, right? So
And we
first
touched
trade,
on this a little bit last week, a little bit.
2 weeks ago,
Yep,
for our
2 weeks ago,
practice,
yep.
for our practice
Yep.
episode we did. But yeah, definitely. So our the first trade that took place was actually between Christian and myself over a beer, right?
Yep. Over a beer.
It happened in March,
Very casual, no real.
casual. I hit him up about Waddle, a couple of times. My keepers were trash. Very interested in Waddle in the 10th. So we settled for swap of 4ths and swap of 8ths for Waddle. Dev, since it's a trade between me and Christian, give us both a grade, A, B, C, D. You can add pluses and minuses if you want. And then, just talk a little bit about your thoughts of Waddle and all that good stuff.
All right, it's pretty even trade, 4th and 8th, that kind of is what it is. So, I don't know. I just want to throw some B's out there. Probably. I love Waddle though. Waddle in the 10th. I mean, I maybe bump that up to a B plus, I guess, because I'm higher on him. But I mean, even trade. Sounds like it was done pretty easily. If you just figured it out. So I think.
Yeah.
I think pretty even. So.
B plus B's, I agree. Same here, right? Christian got something for Waddle, and I got a guy that I like a lot, so I'm into it. Next trade, big one. All right, big trade. Craig was the only guy who had like 2 wins last year and decided not to add a keeper the entire year. It was amazing. I've never seen it before in my life. Fournette, who is, gosh, what round keeper is he? Fournette in the 11th. And Jefferson in the 9th, but Marcus got a 2nd rounder, and Craig got a 8th rounder in return. What do you thinking, Christian, for this trade grade? What do you want to give Craig? What do you want to give Marcus?
I was very adamant on this from the beginning, and I think that Craig made the move of the offseason so far. I think he switched his team from 0 to hero. I think he getting those guys was just a no-brainer for him. But you can't fault Marcus for picking up an extra 2nd. No. Jefferson is not the guy I would have gotten rid of. But obviously, if he did, obviously I would have tried to keep Jefferson and Chase, but I know he's not going to get that same return for CeeDee Lamb. So I get that. But I think it was an absolute A+ for Craig, and, Marcus getting a 2nd round pick for a guy that he wasn't going to keep. I think that you got to at least give him a B+. I could fight for an A- for Marcus. It was a good trade, both sides. It was definitely a way to kick off the offseason.
I agree, man. I'm with you there too. I was in on this Jefferson trade. I gave Marcus the old, hey, don't trade him before you talk to me kind of thing. And he said, hey, like what would you give me for, what would you need in return for a 2nd round pick? And I said a 4th, right? So he added Fournette and he got a 2nd for an 8th. And I agree. I think it's A's all around, right? Craig did a great job. Marcus did a great job. Last trade here, kind of a lengthy one here, so I want to make sure I got this right. So another trade with Craig. Craig traded away Travis Etienne to Tyler, and they swapped 5ths and 6ths, and then Craig got Tyler's 8th for Marcus's 9th for Travis Etienne. Maybe I'll start with this one, right? So big fan of Etienne, right? Definitely thought no way in heck was James Robinson coming back, in the first 4 weeks, let alone, today, right? Like him not being on the pup is nothing short of amazing for me. So I liked the fact that he got ETN and didn't really give up a lot. But I mean, all in all, I maybe gave like B's to both of them, right? B for Craig, just for kind of get something, and a B for the ETN thing. But I mean, I tell you what, if James Robinson comes back, like, I don't know, man. It's still like good value, but ETN is no longer like a top 15 back in my ranks. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends with this whole Robinson thing. I mean, what does he get him 14th or whatever?
Yeah, 14, 15, somewhere in there. Yep.
I mean, shit.
Yeah.
He's going
14.
much higher than that. So
No.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of just, these trades, these are no fun because there's no lopsidedness here. Like all these trades have been, pretty fair, pretty even. So, but yeah, if you want some B's, throw them out there. Yeah.
Couple B's. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in people who haven't heard, I'm not high on ETN. I don't think you can blame the value. So I love the value. I just don't love the player. So, and especially, and that's regardless of Robinson. I mean, Jacksonville just signed so many weapons in the offseason and they put so much around Lawrence. It's like, is ETN really going to do anything? I mean, I don't know. I'm just not completely sold on ETN, especially coming off an injury. People want to talk about, all these other guys and, Robinson being injured, but with him coming back, they're both kind of in the similar position of coming off an injury. I know ETN's had more time off, but I don't know. I mean, grades, I can go B. I'd give a little more of an advantage to Craig. I like Craig being so active this offseason because he looked at his team and said, it's not good, but I'm going to make it a lot better. And he did. So I think he's definitely got something going.
Yeah. It'd be fun.
giving up a second and being able to get something back, I thought was kind of cool, right? Yeah, definitely. That's kind of wrapping up this podcast. Next week, I think our topics will be put yourself in Christian's shoes and who would you keep out of Cup, JT, and Andrews, and then put yourself in Dirk's shoes and who would you keep, right? And the added topic is we're just going to go into NFC and just kind of talk about, hey, players we like, players we don't like, some players that confuse us, some players that might be breakouts. So how's that sound, guys?
Yeah. And honestly, if I would say that if anybody else has other ideas of maybe someone they would keep instead of a current keeper, throw it out there and we can debate that too. I mean, there are a lot of good players out there to be able to keep. I mean, James Conner's still sitting out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
I think we could do a whole show on that. I'm with you. I'm with you. Sounds good. Well, we'll see everyone next week and hopefully everyone enjoyed the show here.
See ya.